Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, good evening, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Namo Amida-butsu.
Namo Amida-butsu.
I am doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I am well. I've been busy, but well.
Same. Very busy.
Exactly.
I came back to Japan from California and immediately it was like,
yeah, that sounded, you were already giving like corporate tours or whatever that,
yeah.
That's
a lot of translation and interpretation and such things, which I always find a bit mentally taxing, although it is enjoyable as well.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Thinking in both
well, I don't know what you mean from that standpoint, but I know what you mean by something that's mentally taxing but enjoyable as well. That part of it, not translating Japanese for people. I wish I could do that. I wish I could Japanese. But anyways, right? Yeah. So, Shinjin Rising.
Yeah, now about your the questions you sent, it does seem to me, looking at them, that they are all rather interconnected and related. So we could try to break them into separate episodes, but I sort of wonder if addressing one will lead us to addressing the others as well. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think, yeah, we can do that. We can bring that in, certainly. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think do it as the Shinjin Rising kind of format. So start with that parts of it and then bring that in. Yeah, start with the topic that we
sounds good.
We sort of agreed on in Messenger in terms of the urgency, and yet Shinjin arises from Amida. So why is it? Yeah. So yeah. Do you want me to start with framing that, or?
Yes, please do.
Well, first, I just want to say I just watched, to get it ready to post, a video we made back in July when I first spawned, when this kind of around the time this idea of doing just the series alone on Shinjin kind of was spawned in my mind. I even kind of mentioned it in the video because of what we're talking about, and it makes that discussion, that Dharma discussion we had, that Dharma dialogue we had, I was thinking it would just be another clearing the channels, but I think I'm going to break that up and post the one part of it as clearing the channels, and the other part as maybe the first episode actually of the Shinjin Rising, series. But anyway, yeah. So shall I frame the question, or do you want to frame the question, or how do you want me to?
Yeah, please please go ahead and frame the question.
Okay, so the question I had was, where is that one? So if Shinjin arises solely through Amida's other power / mind / vow / name / merit, why all the urgency about pursuing the Dharma in light of the rarity of human birth, the rarity of encountering the Buddha, rarity of encountering the Buddha Dharma, rarity of encountering Amida and his Dharma, I suppose in a conscious way, that is, but which is indicated in the sutras and writings of the Dharma master. So if it's if it's up to Amida, and Amida's already been kind of working in our past provisional existences since time immemorial, or the last 10 kalpas, and since time immemorial, since time incalculable, and the past 10 kalpas, I suppose is a better way to say it. How, bringing us to a lifetime where we can hear the name, why, if that's the process, if it's up to Amida, where's the urgency? Why, what what is the urgency about? Do you see what I mean?
Mm.
For us, obviously, yes, we have to acknowledge the rarity of the human birth and the rarity of encountering the Buddha Dharma, but like, so on the sage path, I get on the sage path, yeah, okay. I'm a human and have encountered the Dharma. Let's get to work every second.
Right.
You know, like I'm, you know, like I'm, you know, brushing coals, hot coals from my head. Yeah.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So yeah, sage path. Yeah, get to it. Let's get on it. Let's get going.
Mm.
Because that's up to us. But like on the that's you know that's the self-power path. But on the other power path, you know, I'm just that's I've kind of had that wondering, what are we in hurry for? You know, if it's up to Amida and it's up to our karmic causes ripening, and so on and so forth,
Mm.
why are we rushing to it? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
No problem.
my own video is frozen for some reason at this end.
Oh,
But
okay.
anyway,
It may catch up.
yeah. I'll just go off camera to see if to help it. But
Okay.
anyway, yeah. So yeah, do you kind of see what I'm saying? So
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
yeah, that's basically the question, and
Mhm.
that prompted me. So you know, months ago, I did kind of a
Mhm.
video in my deep reflection series about I'm um I'm urgently relaxed. Kind
Yeah.
of that's it was my first time sort of publicly talking, you know, through sharing my own reflections about this very question, and how I
Mm.
kind of at that point where I was at with it, kind of like accepting that Shinjin will arise, you know, and
Mm.
I do need to, you know, kind of show up to keep doing what I'm doing, but in a way I can relax, but
Right. Yeah.
urgently relax or relaxedly be urgent, you know, anyway,
Yeah.
something along.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's the question. And I wanted to kind
Mhm.
of see if we could discuss that and some writings
Mm.
about, yeah. So please.
Absolutely. Um, well, so the first thing that comes to mind, of course, is the idea in all Buddhism, not just Jodo Shinshu, but you know, whenever we say the three refuges in, at least in Japanese schools of Buddhism, they are prefaced with the sort of declaration that rare is it to be born into human life, but now we have been born as human beings, and still more rare it is to encounter the Buddha's teaching, Shakyamuni's teaching, and now we have encountered it. And
Yeah.
if we do not attain realization in this life, then in what lifetime shall realization be attained? And then it follows the three refuges. I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. So in this is, I think, what you're talking about, the urgency aspect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's
yeah. But urgency, we do one other thing that I thought of while I was preparing for this discussion is there are some religious organizations that take this to an extreme and sort of use it as kind of a manipulative thing.
Yeah.
More on the cult category of some organizations that sort of use there's no time, and you gotta
Yes.
just stop
Yes.
thinking, stop questioning, just believe, just do
E-
it.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. And I've been involved in some such organizations that do that.
Yeah.
One more so than the other. Both of them. Both
Yeah.
of the some past sanghas I was involved with got involved with that to an extent, or took that approach to an extent. Like I said, one
Right.
more than the other. Both kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And, to stop thought. It's kind of it's a thought stop technique.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
That's what it becomes. It essentially becomes like a thought, getting people, like you say, a cult. It's almost like a cult technique of
Right.
stopping thought.
Stop questioning, stop asking, stop,
Yeah.
So that's a misuse of, or a misunderstanding of what is being expressed in the Three Refuges text or declaration, which is the preciousness of this rare human existence in which we find ourselves. And the fact that we are here and now as human beings encountering the Dharma, the Buddha's teaching, Shakyamuni's teaching, is even more amazing, even more rare, even more extraordinary. When you consider all the causes and conditions over innumerable, the beginningless past, as Shinran calls it, that have brought us to this moment here and now, right?
Yeah.
As human beings who have the capacity to hear and understand and receive Shinjin and hear the Dharma and so on and so forth. It's quite extraordinary. And Zonkaku Shonin, who was actually not one of our Monshu, not a Monshu in the Honganji school, but he was the son of Kakunyo Shonin, and he wrote a lot of very scholarly and important texts. Well, not just scholarly, but also very texts that explain Jodo Shinshu to the people of his time. This was some generations after Shinran, but not in the time of Rinyo. So basically, between Shinran and Rinyo, Zonkaku Shonin was active, and he did a lot of preaching the Dharma. He was very active, and he was also involved in the Bukoji Ha school of Jodo Shinshu as well. But anyway, in one of his works, he talks about this very thing. He talks about the joy of having left the evil courses and having entered into the course of human existence. First of all, we're now human beings. We have this ability to hear the Dharma. And then he says, if we were to not hear the Dharma and pursue the Buddha's teaching, it would be as if we had made a journey of incalculable miles to a mountain of treasure and then returned empty-handed.
Yeah. That's a very good analogy.
Yeah.
Or metaphor, or
right. And the reason it is, I don't know if your video is good. Maybe you could try to bring the video.
Yeah, I'm trying. It's still not.
Oh, okay.
I think it might be I need to do an update for my computer or something, or this has happened before, so I might need to. Anyway, I need to get in touch with Zoom, whatever. But anyway, yeah. So.
Well, anyway, the good thing I like about this metaphor is where are we in that journey? What do you think?
Yeah. Uh, well, I think we're at the mount. We see the treasure. We're there.
Yeah.
We see the treasure,
We're there.
but we're kind of
Where
like,
we have,
we see it gleaming and
yeah,
shining and all around
yeah.
us and surrounded by it. And yeah, it'd be like, why wouldn't you start stuffing your pockets and filling up your bags?
Exactly. Like Bilbo, you know.
You know, or so
Mm,
yeah. So no, yeah, that's where I think this in this lifetime as a human being, having encountered the Jodo Shinshu teachings,
mm.
uh, then yeah, I'd say that's where we are. So
Yeah,
is that kind
I
of
completely agree.
like we would urgently start to fill our pockets if it's all free, like there's no,
Right.
why wouldn't we start?
Yeah. We're literally, just like you said, we're in right now, we are like standing on the mountain of treasure. You know,
Yeah,
it's under our feet, it's all around us. And
yeah,
there's nothing that's keeping us from taking it, right? From filling our pockets, as you put it. And so to this is where the urgency, if we want to call it that, although I don't know if that term is a good term, because it's really more about not letting this opportunity we have been given um, slip away
pass in
and be
vain.
wasted,
Yeah,
right? And go and
not take.
pass in vain.
Yeah,
It's more about, getting that treasure and not letting it slip through our fingers. It would be so stupid to be surrounded by this treasure and then turn around and say, okay, well, I'm off. I'm going to go back home and return empty-handed, right?
yeah, it'll always be there. So I'll come back
Yeah,
later.
yeah. After thousands, and the journey itself has already been taken. I mean, we are here. The all of the paths that have brought us to this point, this lifetime, this existence is kind of the journey in my interpretation of this metaphor, right? Because we are now hearing the Dharma. We now have the treasure literally falling into our hands.
Yes,
Right?
yes. So like, take the opportunity. Like, why wouldn't
Yeah,
you take the opportunity? Don't miss the opportunity
yeah.
for
So
it.
it's not so much it's not trying to like make us all anxious because we have to be urgently do something or something like that. That's not what it's about at all. What it is it's calling us to an awareness of where we are and what we are and
Mm.
the opportunity that this lifetime is, right?
Yeah, no, yeah. It's like, and the journey too. So
Mm,
the journey to get there. We've been
yeah.
through all this for all kinds of countless lifetimes with Amida and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas working for Amida in the
Mm,
background, with giving us
mm-hmm,
arranging good stored good from the past to
mm-hmm,
bring us to this lifetime, and we've gone through all that. We've been, and then we say, oh no, yeah, and so it's the analogy of taking this arduous journey to get to. It takes a very long time to get to where this treasure is, and you finally get there and say, I think I'll come back. I'm not gonna. I won't. It's not. It'll always
yeah,
be here. It'll always be here. So
yeah,
I'll just come back another time. So that is
And
kind
then
of
this reminds
that is kind of
me,
silly when you think of it that way.
right?
When I think of it that way, it is kind of silly. It is kind of ridiculous not to take advantage
Well,
of
it's
that moment of the
yeah. Our minds find all kinds of calculations and ways to keep us from, what is most important, right?
yeah, yeah, definitely. And that, yeah,
And it,
definitely. And that's what
yeah,
I start looking around, um, you know, questioning the origins of the treasure, questioning the well, why is this treasure here? What,
mm,
what's it made up of? You know, um, so I suppose, I
mhm,
was thinking earlier, we were just talking about all this. My
mm,
one of the is the distractions too, that the not just the calculations, but the monkey mind distractions as well
yeah.
from, this treasure is here, but look at that beautiful view off of the mountain there. Look at the beautiful view of the valley there, and
Yeah,
that being other
yeah.
things in life that I'm attracted to, or distracted by,
Mm.
or
Well, our lives are certainly full of busyness and distractions, but
yeah,
even in the midst of all that, of all those distractions, busyness, you know, our minds are constantly going here and there. We can rest assured in the Dharma. I want to share this quote.
okay,
This is actually from a book. Well, you asked me, what are some reliable sources that you
yes,
can, or trustworthy texts, and
actual
this would be one of them.
reliable sources.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Um, this is called Jodo Shinshu, a guide, and it's published by Honganji.
Yeah.
Um, and this is actually, this is published by the Honganji International Center in 2002. I was given this as a gift by a person I met in Kyoto. But there are some really good quotations in here. Okay, so let me just read this one. Um, how does the power of Amida Buddha's primal vow work for our benefit? First, it reaches into our minds and hearts in the form of the words Namo Amida Butsu, and then it becomes the light that shines upon and nurtures us from outside. The name of Namo Amida Butsu contains all the essentials to liberate us. Hearing the intent of that name becomes entrusting, and reciting it becomes practice. That is what fulfillment of the name means. Further, Amida Buddha embraces us from outside, using the light that takes us in, never to abandon. Light is an expression of the Buddha mind and is the form of higher wisdom and the activity of compassion. Our hearts and minds are brutalized by our efforts to get by in everyday life. Our awareness of the truth is obstructed by our ignorance and base passions. Therefore, we cannot see the figure of Amida Buddha, yet we are always enveloped by the light of great compassion and protected by it. We are liberated just as we are, complete with our unawareness and base passions, by the activity of the Buddha's name within us and by the light of great compassion that continually shines upon us. The emancipation of the primal vow that contains this name within it gives an unshakable foundation to our lives and is the force that allows us to live with strength to the utmost. So I thought that was a very,
that's great passage.
yeah,
And a good explanation. It's that part about being brutalized by life.
yeah,
Very true. It's that really puts it in a very visceral way. I think it really in a really pertinent way, because that's what it's like. That is what is happening with our minds and hearts and bodies and consciousness. It's just brutalized by pretty much everything in samsara in one way or another.
Yeah. Yeah. And so because that's the problem we're in, we it's really, we should want, or we should come to take, well, when we are, let's say, when we are shown upon and liberated by the light of Amida, of infinite compassion, boundless working of compassion, then that gives, as it says here, an unshakable foundation to our lives, and is the force that allows us to live with strength to the utmost. So, sometimes Buddhism is really portrayed as kind of like sort of a, like a not life affirming or something, like sort of negative or something, like, but that's not the case, at least for Shinshu followers at all. It's actually the thing that gives you, or is supposed to. Now, if it doesn't, then there's probably a problem with either how you're, understanding the teaching, or how the teaching is being presented to you. There could be a lot of different problems, or let's call them divergences, as Tawny Show says, right?
Yes.
So there may be divergent problems, but if the Dharma is being correctly transmitted and correctly understood and received, then it is a, like it said, a force that gives us the freedom to really truly live, in a positive way, and that is how Jodo Shinshu is seen in Japan. I mean, here, and so
it's very hopeful.
Right? Yeah, it's good news,
as it were. Yeah. So does this kind of, I think one of my other topics might come in here. Part of the reason that you would give up the opportunity when you're there is, now that we're here, is, me mentioning about the other topic I raised as a possible topic was the importance or implications of total acceptance of our individual and collective karma and limitations, to the point of actually giving up on or being resigned to one's situation as it is, regarding various aspects of life, regarding our karmic circumstances. So if we really kind of see that, we would naturally want to pick up the treasure. If we really truly see our karmic situation individually, collectively, and really all its implications,
right?
We would just automatically want to pick up the treasure.
Yeah, absolutely.
We would automatically want to. Although, sorry.
No. I was just going to say that although I don't think we should simply be passively resigned to our situation. So this is something that people sometimes think Buddhism is about, just sort of passively accepting whatever the situation is. But there's a little bit more to it than that, because the bodhisattvas and the great masters of Buddhism, not just Jodo Shinshu but other traditions as well, I mean, they were like, people of action, let's say. They weren't just sitting resigned to their fate, their karmic fate. They were, I mean, like, one person who comes to mind is Dogen, who famously traveled to China in the middle when the Mongols were attacking China. It was like a very difficult journey. That was he wasn't just going to sit in Japan. I mean, he took like an incredible journey to find true, Buddhist teaching in China, because he was unsatisfied with how Japanese Buddhism had become, So, and then again, Shinron, I mean, he all kinds of things happened to him in his life, and he never just, was resigned to things without, I mean, he also moved around and preached and so on, and was very active. And so the only thing is, you want to make sure you don't misunderstand this. I do think, like what that passage said about the unshakable foundation, that does give us something that we can rely on, even in the midst of being buffeted by, our base passions of karma or things that occur and so on. One example that occurs to me is Reverend Mukaibo, who was a Jodo Shinshu Buddhist, and he was in an accident and was paralyzed from the neck down. So his entire body was paralyzed, and he was confined to a wheelchair. And even in the midst of that, debilitating experience, Jodo Shinshu gave him like the force to continue living, and he ended up going to Nepal. He founded the I believe it was called the Green Life Institute in Nepal, which became the Nepal Kathmandu Honganji.
Oh, wow.
Temple. And he has given lots of lectures around at various temples throughout Japan. But, he had points where he lost his faith in had doubts about the Jodo Shinshu, and had to, I mean, he had a total spiritual journey, but it was never a case of simply being resigned to his condition and saying, well, there's nothing I can do about this. No, it was, he was very active, So I think he's just one example who comes to mind, but many, many other people have found the Dharma, whether in Shinshu tradition or some other school, to be, really a force that propels them to do something about
that.
And also
that's sort of what I was getting at. Was that it's that if you accept your karma, your karma, truly sort of see within your own limitations and whatnot, you truly see your karmic, the implications of your karmic situation, both individually and collectively, as bamboo in Mappo during this declining kalpa, the 5 turbidities. If you really see that and the implications of that, then it's gonna you automatically go, okay, I need a Mida. I need a Mida Buddha. It's just automatic. Exactly. It's an automatic. I'll pick up this treasure. Yep, come on, load it up. And so it's that acceptance, that full acceptance actually is a very active thing in the end, because you all kind of automatically kind of want to pursue the Dharma, automatically want you're grateful, automatically you want to do what you can to share this, all those kinds of things.
It's compelling. It's a the working of other power and of great compassion is a compelling thing in our lives. It's so yeah, absolutely.
And they both are happening at the same time, obviously. It's not just that I've realized the implications of my own karmic situation. That's not the only compelling. It's Amita's light, obviously, Amita's power that's compelling me. Type of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I did have a note that I wrote. Let me just look really quick. There may have been one more thing I wanted to mention on this topic.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I did write something. Let me just read it really quickly. Okay. So about, because Shinjin itself arises through Amida's power, right? Which is part of the first part of your question. Then where does the, urgency, let's call it, come in? So I sort of wrote the following note.
I suppose we could, reframe the not just urgency. It's more like the missed opportunity. Don't don't miss this opportunity. Don't anyway. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Good clarification. So I just kind of wrote this off the top of my head as a note for this conversation, but Shinjin itself cannot be contrived. However, it is not magically produced either. Shinran says that it arises through skillful means, or upaya, of Amida Buddha and Shakyamuni Buddha. In other words, there is a process through which Shinjin arises in accordance with the natural working of the vow, of the power of the vow. Okay, and it said, and then I pointed out, we have of course been brought to this point, which is the treasure, the mountain of treasure, ultimately by other power and by the inconceivable interplay and arising of countless causes and conditions since the beginningless past. But that does not mean that we can now sit on our hands and do nothing since we are here. We are rather urged to pass through the fire to hear the Buddha's name. And that's another quotation, of course, I wanted to mention, is the one about, even if all of the worlds were filled with flame, we should pass through that fire to hear Amita's name and the Dharma. Yeah. So, in that sense, we are being urged to kind of lighting the fire under our feet, as it were. The fire of samsara, of the burning house, as it were, should certainly give us some. We can't just sit back and do nothing and then expect some sort of, spiritual benefit from doing nothing, right?
Yeah, the urgency comes from our situation too. It's not just the urgency is, you're in the Saha world, this burning house. You are in samsara. You are in the flame right now. You are in this brutalizing predicament. So you wouldn't sit in a fire. You wouldn't sit in a burning house. Like, let's just use that.
Exactly.
You wouldn't sit there. You'd be running for your life. You'd be doing whatever you needed to do to get out.
Yeah.
So there's part of the urgency right there. If you think of it that way. If you get to if you are, at the point where the Amita's light has illuminated your situation for you, to the point where you see, you might not know the exact nature, because we're like beings at the burning house, but you're in the burning house. You're in samsara. You see the predicament of your own, karmic situation. You're not going to sit there. So that's
right.
partly
Exactly.
where, that's a big part of the urgency.
Yeah.
Is that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, so it's like that's the, like, I wouldn't say negative part, but that's the reality part.
Yeah,
gives
the
you
reality
urgency.
part. I like that.
It gives you urgency.
Yeah.
That's the reality of your situation that gives it urgency to, like, do something, get
Yeah.
out. But then you'd be given, and then on the other hand, you've got the limitless, immeasurable storehouse of Amida that's already been given to you. So,
Right.
you're running from a burning house, and you've got this amazing treasure to
Yeah.
run to, dive into, to swim in, to I'm picturing these, this like a, massive vat of coins or something, and you're running and you literally dive into anyway.
Like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Diving into the sea of coins.
And it literally, so it's not just, so it's literally you're out. You're being given freely. It's already been given.
Right.
You're literally, this is your out.
Yeah.
It's, and you don't really need to do much. There's not really anything for you to do except grab onto the life, ring.
Yeah, it would be as silly as if you took the train to London.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, I'm thinking of the firemen's come into the house to get you. Literally, all you do is just grab onto them,
Yeah, exactly.
and let them carry you out, or guide you out.
Right.
You're not like, you don't really. Anyway, you see what I mean? So it's not like it's just, it's just treasure laying there. It's like, it's the ultimate out. It's what it's ultimately what you want in life. It's ultimately your highest aspiration. Ultimately the end of suffering,
Well, it's the
that gives you a lot of motivation. Those two things right there make it not urgent, but make you, yeah, man, let's go. Let's get, I want to pursue this.
Yeah. It's the entire purpose. It's the whole purpose of human life, of being born as a human, is to attain this realization. So if you pass that by, you've missed the whole point. You've missed the whole point of your own existence. That's an unfortunate, thing. And that is what, it's not so much that we have to scramble and stop thinking and, just believe without question and all that. That's not the point at all. The point is to awaken us to this opportunity that this life is, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I think it would be like as if you got on the train for your destination, and when you reach your destination, instead of getting off, you stayed on the train. Yeah, that would be silly.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, we've already reached, the station. Let's say we're there, and so there's no point to continue the journey. That would be silly.
Exactly.
Everything has led us to this, right?
And even so, you would, and that to continue with that metaphor.
Yeah.
When you're on train ride, there's always this anticipation of, okay, when am I going to get there? You know, like you're listening for the announcements,
Mhm.
what the next stop is, you know. Do you know what I mean? You're listening. I wonder how many more stops, you know, how many more stops is there? Or you're constantly attentive, just
Right.
automatically by being on the train ride to you're attentive, like I need to pay attention to what's, I know might be a while before I get there, a little while, you know, whatever,
Yeah.
40 minutes or a couple of hours, whatever it is, depending on where you're going. But you are automatically attentive just by being on the train on the journey for what you're there for a reason.
Mm.
So you're already kind of anticipating, you're already kind of, yeah, I gotta, you know what I mean? You're thinking I need to be ready to go.
Right.
But anyway, something along that line. You're
Yeah.
just by virtue of being on the journey, you're kind of already anticipating the end. you're you're
Right.
and looking out, looking for signposts and um
Hmm.
yeah, and signs that you're getting closer, type of thing. So there's kind of an urge, I guess that's kind of an urgency. That's kind of an anxiousness about
Yeah.
wanting to
Yeah.
be done with the journey to get there, wanting to get there. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Which I think, you know, if the destination is Buddha, it's Pure Land and
Yeah.
Buddha, you kind of want to get there. It's kind of
Right. Yeah. And of course, the purpose of human life is Buddhahood, right? That is awakening, the realization of nirvana. Um, and so let's instead of maybe seeing it as urgency, using the term urgency, maybe it would be better to say that these scriptural passages, these texts, the mountain of treasure metaphor, story, and so on, are seeking to awaken us to our life's true purpose.
Hmm.
And it is an unfortunate thing that when people don't, on the other hand, have a purpose or lose track of the purpose in their life, then their existence becomes kind of meaningless. It's like, and that has happened a lot, I think, in modern times, especially with our increase. And this ties into what you were saying about the overwhelming secularism and all of that, the skepticism and that stuff, because we do have that. We live in an age where that's the case. People do sadly succumb to the materialism and the pointlessness of existence, and they lose track of the purpose of why they're here, and then they become depressed, and in lots of cases, tragic things can happen. So it's the war, the recommendation, the awakening us to the purpose is a good thing. It's all good, It's like, wake up,
Wake up! Wake
Yeah.
up! Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, hmm. Yeah, it's definitely, I think, um, I had to, this definitely, where I kind of had that difficulty was that,
Mm.
I suppose not realizing that there's already it's an automatic kind of urgency that you experience. It's not
Mm.
like you have to go, oh, I've got to get, do you know what I mean? it's kind
Oh
of,
yeah, no, not at
and I
all. It's
wasn't,
not.
when I asked the question, I don't think I was sort of thinking about that or seeing that
Yeah,
aspect of things. Um,
right.
both the positive, both the sort of reality, the reality of a situation side, and Amita's what the
Mm,
gift we're being given side of it. That I just, you know, I was more seeing it through the self power idea of that, I suppose. That
right.
somehow I need to get on with it. You know, I need to generate this. I need to generate this urgency. But it's
Yeah,
already, it's the urgency is already there. Like so many things with this reverse polarity Buddhism of
yeah,
Amida Buddha, um, the urgency, the impetus, the sense of not missing this opportunity. It's kind of built in to the teaching. It's built into your situation. It's built into
right.
the gift of Shinjin. It's built in. It's built into the
Hmm.
vow. It's built into the name.
Yeah, which is calling to us, right? Shinran always interprets the Namo Amida Butsu as being the name that is calling to us, right? To
Yeah.
awaken to
Yes.
Amida's compassion, the working of the vow.
Yeah. Exactly. Um. Oh, I just had a thought on that too, and what we were just saying.
Mm.
Trying to trace it back. So, oh yeah. So it's almost like, yeah, this is what it was. The urgency is the Buddha's urgency, urging us. It's
Yeah, yeah.
it's the Tathagata's urgency. The
Mm.
Buddha is urging us. The Buddhas are urging us
Yes,
on the
exactly.
path.
Yeah, yeah, and that's kind of
Shakyamuni
the
at the one end of the white path, urging you
right.
forward, and Amida, beckoning you toward him, urging. It's their urgency. It's not ours. That's what it is. That's what I mean. But that's, it's that reverse polarity. It's their urgency
Right.
that we need to sort of realize or experience.
Exactly. I was just going to mention the parable of the white path, and then you mentioned it for me.
Oh,
So, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
um, I had another thought about the reverse polarity thing. This
Mm.
definitely is related to this whole thing and Shinjin.
Hmm.
Calling it that Amida reversed engineered Buddhism, right?
Yeah.
But I had a thought very recently that
Mm.
actually I think it's the other way around. The original Buddhism is Amida's Buddhism. the original the original
Mm.
Buddhism is Amida's Buddhism. The reverse engineered Buddhism is somehow the self-powered path, is a
Yeah.
reversal
Yeah.
of the original.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's even
Yeah.
gone further. That
Yeah.
um, and that definitely relates to
Hmm.
Shinjin. But anyway, um, so
Right. Well, that's what is said in Jodo Shinshu, is that since the path of self power and the path of sages are actually the provisional, right,
yeah,
version, and
making
then
provision.
Shinshu is the true. Yeah, that was Shakyamuni making provision to lead people into the true way of other power of Amida's vow. So yeah, from the perspective of Shinshu doctrine, that is absolutely correct, I would say.
Yeah. Um, So yeah, I think that's I think that's a good place to leave it. I think realizing the urgency is the Buddha's, you know, what's this urgency? It's the Buddha's urgency urging us.
Yeah.
The urgency of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas urging us to
Right.
entrust to Amida, to entrust to the name, to say the name, to hear the call.
Exactly. And it's what a relief it is to hear that. Right? It's not about my having to frantically, urgently do or not do things, or stop thinking or whatever. No, it's calling us to awaken to the opportunity and the purpose of our very existence. So wow is what I would say. Namo Amida Buddha.
Yeah, Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Yeah, definitely. It's and I just had another thought, analogy about the what's the phrase, the teaching, like as though you're dusting coals from the top of your head. What's
right? Yeah.
What's the actual phrase? What's the actual?
One must practice as if brushing coals of fire from one's head, basically.
Fire from the head, yeah. So it's kind of the way that works in Jodo Shinshu is Amida is dusting those coals, the dusting away the fire and the coals from our head. The urgency is, yes, please. We're raising. You can't see me. I'm raising my head up. Yes. Like if you had that and someone needed to help you do it, you couldn't get rid of those coals from the top of your head. What would you do? Would you you'd raise you'd be like, yes, please, yes, there you go. Exactly. You wouldn't just sit around like, oh yeah, I suppose you can dust those coals from the top of my head. Thanks.
Yeah, it kind of hurts.
Anyway, so yeah, no, great discussion. Thank you so much, and thank you for the passages and your preparation. Those are excellent passages and readings and things. And I do want to eventually get that guide, the Jodo Shinshu guide book. I've seen that before and heard of it. The one book that you showed.
Yeah. This one. This is a good book. Guide. It's it has a lot of different sections. It has a section on Shakyamuni, on the life and teaching of Shinron. Then it talks a bit about some history. It's a very good book.
Yeah, excellent. Well, as I say, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Will next time be next weekend? Is that?
I should be able to meet again on next Sunday, same time, same station.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Well, this one ended itself. Normally we go much longer than we did today, but this one really this one brought itself to a very, very good conclusive close, I think.
I agree. So,
once you get to that, nice. There's not too much further to go. So, all right. Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Take care, my friend.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.